Sup guys, Maverick here, and we are up for another episode of Fire Force. Now, last episode things are starting to heat up a little bit, right? Pun fully intended, and we got the the 8th company invading the 5th company's headquarters, which caught me by surprise. I didn't expect things to escalate this quick, but here we are anyways, right? We've already got some pretty cool abilities coming out from the 8th, and we're also getting some abilities from the 5th, and of course Shinra is off to fight the big boss, the captain of the 5th herself. So in the process, I'm also kind of expecting them to extrapolate a little bit more in regards to the past, and especially in regards to the Holy Soul Temple, which I do really want them to continue to expand on. Now, this series, of course, is action oriented, and so far it's not. It's well above average, right? I'm not gonna say it's bad, but you know, considering that the wealth of action animes that we've had so far, and especially with one particular series from last week, Fire Force has some big shoes to meet, right? Now, what it has going for it, at least for me anyways, is in its unique aesthetic, right? The aesthetic of the story itself, the world that it has built, and so these are its strengths, and I do hope that it can continue to play on to that part. Of course, if we get some pretty epic fight scenes, I will be happy as well. So, without further ado, let's get into the episode. Alrighty, beginning in 3, 2, 1, play. Illness and self-combustion. Oh. Okay, there we go. Fire! Well, that was a nice transition. Yeah. And hopefully this also tells us a little bit more in regards to... Oh wait, it's you three? So... are there actually more than 3 in the 5th 3? It probably is, because... last episode we saw that even though the lieutenant disabled 3 of them, there's still a 4th hiding somewhere. But probably more. Anyways, let me skip this real quick. I'll see you guys in a second. The Spark of Promise. What's this? Ooh, a cross? Or is that a clover? So... what exactly happened in the past? So, was the nunnery burnt down? Why? Yeah, you might want to like have a plan of attack. What? Oh, so it's like having a stroke? It's gonna be like, I'll fight fire with fire, right? Call him out. I do like characters that use fans as weapons. Traditional fans. That's a way to handle it with class. So how exactly do you fight against this? A fire tree. Alright. I like it. I dig it. So is that flammable? Yeah, I guess so. And see, she's taking care not to let the sister take damage. You guys are having an awfully casual conversation in the middle of a battle.
私はそんな中で唯一不真面目だったよ。そしてあの日、シスターたちが急に燃えた。私とアイリス以外
Really? Okay.
全員みんな私より経験に神に尽くした修道女だった。わかるだろう、人は報われない。
Hmm.
こうして生きている私の存在こそが何よりもの証拠だ。
So all their peers burned up without any enemy or whatnot?
強くならずして救いを求めるなんて贅沢も大概にしろ。底辺の砂利が人並みの救いを求めること自体お門違いなんだよ。
プリンセスヒバナ、あんたも炎の被害者なんだな。
まだいたかエセヒーロー。
あんたの気持ち少しはわかるよ。俺も炎に人生を狂わされた一人だからな。
お前に何がわかる。桜吹雪。今度こそ砂利だと地べたに入れっせ。
Can you fight fire with fire? Or something like that?
倒れるわけにはいかねえ。
熱失神だぞ。
俺は何度でも立ち上がるし、何度でも倒れねえ。あなたのために。
何を言っている。おかしくなったか。
いいか、今からあなたをぶっ飛ばす。それもこれも全部あなたのために。
Of course, shonen logic.
ダメだと言うならさっさと朽ち果てろ。何も知らない砂利がざれ言ばかり。人の身を焼く炎もあれば、人を導く光や人を温める炎もあるんです。この世にヒーローなんてものはいない。
この世にヒーローがいねえから。俺がヒーローになるって言ってんだよ。俺は勘違いお姉さんの目を覚まさせるの。
Right in the face. Holy crap. Uh. Right, and of course we get the flashback. Of course. Okay, so this is something that she could do all along.
見てて、シスタークレマチス。これにナトリウムの溶液を少しかけると変色反応で
Turns colors.
黄色くなった。こっちはどうね。
That's how fireworks work. Put different metals into the fire,
シスターさくら、
and it'll react differently.
あとタリウムとかストロンチウムとか。どれもすごく素敵。どう？炎ってすごく綺麗でしょ。シスターヒバナは炎も操れて科学にも詳しくて憧れちゃうわ。アイリス、そんなところにいないで近くで見てごらんなさい。
Don't touch it, you'll burn.
花の形にしてあるけど炎なんだからやけどする。ほら、シスターヒバナ、また発火能力で遊んで。ほら皆さん、礼拝堂に入りなさい。はい、シスタースミレ。
Okay. So this religion, they do believe that the ability of the flames come from their god, which is named Soul. Probably has something to do with the sun in one way or the other. Aww. I quite like small Hibana. Looks really cute. So that was literally it? Like, she didn't reveal some big secret about the church or anything? Hmm. Okay, so sort of kind of similar to that. That was it. And so Shinra just directly. Yeah. So is she gonna be turned to the, I guess to the good side, if you will, now? Okay, now I want to slap him. Come on, Hibana. Don't tell me you're falling for that. Seriously? Oh my god. Just like that? Ugh. Okay. Okay. We actually got a lot of time left. I think there's going to be something after the ending. So, let me check real quick, and if nothing else, I'll see you guys after the ending. And yes, there indeed is some more after the ending. So let's just watch this together in 3, 2, 1, play. Lieutenant Naya?
手に暴れ回っているようだな、第八よ。
比嘉は中隊長だ。
今回どうだ、上と寝そべっている砂利どもにどう説明したもの。
王尾大隊長は合同夜間演習に見せかける工作をするつもりだった。
Okay, so they got a good cover story.
お前らが飛び込んできたのだな。いつもそんな調子じゃこの先失敗するぞ。いいことを思いつきました。第五と第八の皆さん。
Really?
それはちょっと。
なるほど。なかなかいいな。人を欺くには馬鹿らしい方法の方が成功しやすいこともある。第五の戦闘力を試すため、私が第八に敵役を頼み、抜き打ちで戦闘演習を行ったことにする。シンラ、段取りを打ち合わせたいので。
Okay.
随分協力的ですね。
Oh damn, she's falling for him. Okay.
長官、予定より早いですが、第五の調査を始めました。少し強引になりそうなので、各所への根回し。
Yeah, have the other guys gotten the memo yet?
もしもし、ひなわか。ああ、工作に手間取った。俺も今からそちらへ向かう。え、終わった。
Okay. Well, I guess dinner party it is. Alrighty, so let's get to the discussion of this episode, right? And I think the first one that we have to really take a look at is, of course, in the character of Hibana. Now, so here's the thing, like, it's reasonably conceivable to fill in the gaps ourselves in regards to her backstory, right? It's reasonable, like Iris said herself that she was someone who a lot of the other sisters in the Coven looked up to. And so we can reasonably believe that she probably acted as the elder sister of the group. Maybe she was the one taking care of everyone. She was the one everybody looked up to. She took care of all the little children and whatnot. We can sort of infer these kinds of things, right? And so maybe she was, like I said, she's maybe the one who's most taking care of everyone. And so when in the end they all started burning and whatnot, maybe she suffered a mental break due to the fact that she couldn't protect them as well as she could, and she had no one to turn to herself, which also ties in later on with her entire, interaction and infatuation with Shinra. But we'll get to that in a later point. We also can infer that she was very close with Iris. Iris probably, maybe out of all the others, she was the one most close with Iris and treated her just directly like her little sister and whatnot. And we can also infer that, be due to her being not that sworn to the faith in the first place, that she could reasonably be confused and reasonably turn back away from the teachings of the Soul Temple or the Soul Religion, just like that, right? And of course, she could conceivably just think, okay, this is a load of bullcrap, I'm not going to bother with this anymore. Now, the problem here I have with this is that it still relies too much on the imagination, right? In order for a character, especially in anime, to be compelling, we need to be shown that. We need to be shown their interactions on screen in order for us to feel more empathy for the character. We can infer all we want, and perhaps this is indeed true, this is indeed her backstory, but we're not going to really get a good connection with the character unless we actually see it happening, either through manga form or through anime form. And here, it's just they just don't do enough to completely cut it, right? We're not able to emphasize that much with this Hibana character because, well, we weren't shown it. Everything that I said, this is just a guesstimate of what actually happened in the past and what her character was like. Is it true or not? We don't know, and so that lessens the impact a little bit. And not to mention, something that I also really would have liked them to sort of show is how her character eventually turned out to be this way, right? Because in the past, when she was still little and inside that church convent or whatever it's called, she didn't really show this sort of tendency towards being arrogant and that sort of top of the world kind of attitude, right? Basically being a bitch to everybody else. So it's hard to see how she got this way, right? So you can say, okay, she was disheartened by the entire soul religion and whatnot and decided to turn her back to it, or maybe she thought that her own powers was actually devil spawn, demon spawn in some sort of way instead of being a blessing. Well, fine, that's all okay, but you would think that maybe her tendency would be to go into depression or something, right? Or go into self-doubt, self-loathing, that kind of thing. How exactly did she turn into this kind of arrogant, haughty type of character? We aren't really provided with any context as to how she turned out this way. So, the disconnect there is real, right? And so what I'm really getting here is that we should have been shown more in regards to her past, what her character actually is. We were shown some of her character, right? We're shown that she's one who likes to use her pyro abilities, and she's not a loner or not that kind of girl, right? She likes to interact with others as well. She takes care of others, so we can gather that much. But it would have been great if we could have learned more instead, and I felt like that would have really helped flesh out this character and this episode overall. And so, yeah, and I mentioned the part with Shinra, right? So again, I could, even though as ridiculous as, love at first sight, somebody proclaiming to be the hero and then being infatuated by them, it's kind of absurd, right? But I can also see a scenario where this is happening. So, say for instance, during her past, when she was young, she was always the one that everybody else looked up to. She herself never had anyone to gain support from, right? And again, this is the type of thing that if we were shown more of it, if we could build up her character, her tendencies more, it would lead to more logical results. Even absurd as it is, even as funny as it is, it would still make a lot of sense, and we could emphasize with this kind of situation. So I really feel like they missed out on some good opportunity here in regards to building up Hibana's character. And the actual fight with Shinra as well. So I thought about it a little, and in the end I decided it's actually pretty conceivable that Shinra could defeat Hibana, because after all, she didn't exactly earn her position of captain through merit. She earned it by basically bribing or having a deal with Haijima Industries, right? So we can sort of maybe guess that her abilities aren't all that well trained or strong either. It's just that she happened to get to this position. So it's not inconceivable or so unbelievable that Shinra is able to defeat her. What I will say, however, is that for the entire battle scene, I felt like they were maybe laying on the dialogue a little too much, right? Like, even though I just complained about wanting more backstory, I feel like if you're really gonna have an action scene, just let them duke it out and not interrupt the fight every few seconds with not even the two actually conversing with each other, but half the time Hibana was actually talking with Iris, right? So, yeah. That was also a sort of pacing kind of thing that I wish they would have sort of handled a little bit better, right? And so in the end, But I still gotta say, I did enjoy their interaction in the end, right? So, as absurd as it is, it did kind of remind me of, say, for instance, Luffy and Boa Hancock, from One Piece, right? That entire kind of interaction, uh, a strong man, strong hero type of character versus a no nonsense, um, a no nonsense female character who's really a queen of her domain, if you will, and then getting in, falling heads over heels, and then acting all, acting all ladylike and whatnot over him. It's fun. It's fun, right? As cliche as it might seem, as cliche as this entire episode is in terms of its shonen properties, I feel like if you want to go for the absurd, then absolutely go for it, right? If you're gonna go balls to walls crazy, if you're gonna go balls to walls corny, then go full send it, right? Don't do it half-heartedly. Just do it. Just completely go that kind of direction. And perhaps this is something that they are going to go for. If they only try to, sort of do it and not do it, then that's just going to lead to a lot of awkward and sort of cringeworthy situations, right? So I do hope that they know how to actually get the good balance and go enough and not be too conservative with what they are trying to do, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So anyways, I guess that finishes the investigation of the fifth. Apparently next episode we're going to start investigating the first. So it actually turned out to be much more of a series where they instead do a lot of infighting rather than fighting against actual infernos and whatnot. So okay, fine, that goes as well, as long as we know that what we're up for. And I reckon that within the next few episodes, once they start investigating the first, a few things will also happen, right? Again, we'll probably learn a little bit more about the church, or the religion, because apparently the first are heavily influenced by them. And second of all, we're probably gonna see more of Catgirl, I forgot her name, but the Catgirl, Neko Girl, who's always wearing very revealing clothing. And I imagine she's eventually going to join the Eighth as well, because, well, we already see from the opening that she's apparently part of the Eighth team. So I guess that is something that we can look forward to as well. So that concludes my review of episode 6. Feel free to let me know what you agree or disagree with, especially in regards to Hibana's character or the way that they handle the situation. I'll be interested to know your guys' thoughts as well. And if nothing else, I will see you guys next week. So till then, bye bye.